Hi everyone, welcome to another video from Bristol Ground School. In this series of videos I talk about life in the airlines, some of my experiences of my time flying around Europe and what I think you could expect during your career as a pilot. The hope is these videos will keep you motivated as you work your way through your studies, or if you're still trying to decide whether to embark on flight training, will give you that extra little bit of inspiration. I spent 18 years flying short-haul routes around Europe, mostly in an Airbus, an A320, and like many jobs, the day-to-day experiences can be tiring, but they can be immensely rewarding too. Sure, some days are long, 11 or 12 hours perhaps, with 4 flights, or sectors we say, and they can be a combination of, say, 2 longer flights with 2 short ones, or 4 kind of medium-length flights, for instance, Gatwick to Nice. There are limits though on how long the flights can be, because they need to be scheduled such that your flight duty is within the permitted duty time. Now I talk about rostering and flight duties in another video. There are also plenty of 2-sector days out there to enjoy, a day out to Spain or one of the Greek islands for instance. For me, an early morning trip to Faro on Portugal's southern coast was always a favourite. If you fly out of an airport in the west of the UK, for example Belfast, Manchester, Liverpool, here in Bristol for example, then a trip to Spain or Portugal usually takes you over the Devon coastline towards the Brest Peninsula in France and then down the Bay of Biscay. This is good because you avoid flying through London's airspace, because London's airspace between London and Paris is one of the busiest sectors in the world. So leaving the UK's airspace from the southwest is a much more relaxing experience. When you transfer to the French, the air traffic controllers there, they more often than not clear you to the boundary with Spanish airspace and they just leave you alone. But you might have to go on a heading from time to time just to avoid passing transatlantic flights, but otherwise it's often pretty quiet flying along that route, which is great because by the time you reach cruising altitude it's usually time for breakfast. On a clear day, with no weather systems to worry about, you can eat your breakfast in comfort and peace and gaze along France's Atlantic coastline as you make your way down the Bay of Biscay. And then, over to the east, you'll see an orange glow begin to spread across the horizon as the sun starts to rise. In a few minutes, though, it'll be up and shining in your eyes, but it can be annoying, but it's still a fantastic sight. And there aren't many places you can eat your breakfast while watching the sunrise from 39,000 feet. When you transfer to the Portuguese air traffic controllers, they commonly direct you straight to the final fix in Faro, your 10-mile final, and you can be hundreds of miles away at this point. So you self-position and manage your descent and approach, all without the help or interference of air traffic control. You could even disconnect the automatics and go visual, hand fly your arrival, just like you might in a PA-28 or a DA-42, recreational flying, but in a passenger plane. You don't have to sit there and let the airplane do all the work. Now, of course, not all days are like this, but it doesn't mean you can't enjoy great experiences flying to busy airports as well. Geneva, for example, offers some of the most stunning views in Europe, both in the winter and the summer. I remember one year I went 3 or 4 times over Christmas, and for that period the whole of the valley where the city is and Lake Geneva lies was completely overcast. It was like it was flooded with cloud. The cloud layer spread from around 400-500 feet above the ground to perhaps 2,000 feet. Now above the cloud the sky was crystal clear and the snow on the mountains shimmered in the sun. The top of the cloud itself was like a smooth layer of snow. And below the cloud was a different story. It was gloomy and miserable. It was like 2 different worlds, one above the cloud and one below the cloud. And then, after takeoff, when you're leaving Geneva, you break free of the cloud and you see the blue sky and the snow mountains again. It's just an instant mood lifter. And it had been like that in Geneva for about 3 weeks. And I thought about those on the ground who didn't go flying. They wouldn't have experienced any of that. It's these kind of experiences that make the training and all that hard work worthwhile. I hope one day you get to see just what I mean. Well, that's it for this video. I hope it's given you a little bit of inspiration, and I'll see you on the next one.